Hello guys, it's Grumpy and welcome back to another tips and tricks episode. This is volume 2. I've got like 10 or 12 tricks in here. I lost count of them, but anyway, here we go. Okay, here's a tip. It's about this block right here. It's called a glacial precipitator. It can be used to make snowballs, snow, or ice, and all it requires is 2 MJ per tick to run, so you can just hook it up to an unupgraded electrical engine, or you can hook it up to one of these redstone energy cells. I have a tutorial on how to make and use these energy cells if you're interested, but anyway, I got it set to output 2 MJ per tick. So this machine's getting power. Now right here you select whether it makes snowballs, snow, or ice, and so all we got to do is turn this thing on right here. I have a switch to turn it off and on. Now this thing does require water to run. Right now its internal storage is full, but I get the water with one of these things right here. It's called an aqueous accumulator. Now this thing will put out water on all of its sides, and so what I'm doing is I'm getting the water out of the top, and that is just waterproof stone pipe right there. It's what's it called? Stone waterproof pipe. So that's what I'm using to get the water into this machine here. Now if you put water around this aqueous accumulator, it'll speed it up, and the more water you get around it, the faster it'll go. So I actually have water on all 5 of the other sides. I have water beneath it, and there's also a block of water beneath this machine, so it's pretty fast. So let's go ahead and make some ice right here. All we gotta do is turn it on. Like once again, we're getting 2 MJ per tick into this machine. As you can see, it's pumping out ice pretty fast. Now it is draining its internal storage, so it'll start going a little bit slower, but still it's pretty fast. Now I don't know what people did with ice blocks in vanilla Minecraft. I saw Ethos make one of these, not like this, but like a thing that made ice. But anyway, you can do it with machinery inside Feed the Beast. Now what you use it for in Feed the Beast or in Tech-It is you can use this to cool a nuclear reactor. So you I'm not exactly sure how you do that, but somebody asked me in one of my comments, how do you make ice inside of Feed the Beast to cool your nuclear reactor? This is it. It's very simple. The ingredients are really cheap, but anyway, you can make ice, snow, or snowballs. But anyway, there's a great tip for you. Okay, here's something you may not have known. It's about obsidian pipes. Obsidian pipes are used to pick stuff up in the world. So if I was to drop this block here, it instantly gets sucked in there, just like that. Here's something not everybody might have known. If you power an obsidian pipe, in other words, I got a redstone engine here, it'll suck stuff up in a bigger pattern. It's actually a 3x3 pattern. So if I was to place a block here, it instantly gets sucked up. Now you see the engine here. When the engine strokes, when it gets to this very end of the stroke, that's when it's going to suck the item up. There you go. Now if we power it with a combustion engine, here's a combustion engine, it'll pick stuff up in a 9x9 pattern. So if you were to make this vertical, you could pick stuff up off the floor above. So let me demonstrate this for you. We'll throw some stuff on the ground here. This represents a cone. It's going to pick stuff up in a cone, and also too, it'll pick stuff, like I said, it'll pick stuff up through the floor. So if we had a wall or something here, it wouldn't matter. In fact, let's make a wall. Now let's go ahead and power this up and see what happens. Let me try to get a better view because it's going to suck them up all at once. Well, it's pretty fast, but it sucked up all those blocks. So this is great for tree farms, and in fact I've done this before in a tree farm. You would have your tree farm above. This would be like a basement, and you put all these obsidian pipes, scatter them around the room, and then basically build a pipe network. And then when you turn all the engines on and you start harvesting the wood with the filler, all the wood will get sucked up into the piping network and go in. You'll put all the wood in a chest. Here's another great tip. You can use quarries to keep chunks of memory loaded. Now you can also do this with a world anchor. A world anchor will keep an area of 3x3 chunks loaded, so a grand total of 9 chunks loaded. But with this method, I like it for a couple reasons. One is you can keep a custom area loaded. In other words, world anchor is going to keep a 3x3 area of chunks loaded, but With this, I can customize it and have a 3x5 area of chunks stay loaded, or whatever you want, or 3x4 area, whatever. But the other thing I like about this, it actually shows you that, because this frame exists, it shows you what areas of memory are going to stay loaded. So with a world anchor, you're not sure where the area ends and where it begins. Now you can hit F9 with a world anchor and it'll create these little purple sparkly effects, and basically if you see those purpley sparkle effects, it tells you that area is staying loaded by that world anchor. The problem with that is it's like it's kind of hard to tell like where the border is. So this is a great way to keep areas of memory loaded. So what you do is, like, you can put this in a nether and put it around your lava pumps and stuff, and it'll keep that loaded when you leave the area. Here's a tip for you. People coming from Tech It probably knew this, but you can make you can use UU matter to make iridium ore. Here you can see it right here. This is the recipe. This will not show up in the recipe book, but basically you take UU matter and you put it in an eye pattern and you get iridium ore. Now the way you get this UU matter is with a matter fabricator or a mass fabricator. If you have Greg's Tech turned off, you're going to use the mass fabricator, but if you have it turned on, you're going to use the matter fabricator. And by the way, somebody thought there might be something wrong. The matter fabricator is slow. It's exactly 100 times slower than a mass fabricator. But anyway, if you're interested in building the matter fabricator, I do have a tutorial on that. It's going to take 8 pieces of iridium, and it's more of an end item or in-game item, but it's a lot of fun. Okay, here's another great tip. Now we have a problem here. Let's say, for example, this glass fiber cable right here, let's say it's carrying an extreme voltage, so we want to hook a transformer up to it, an HV transformer, so that we can hook it to the rest of the power grid. Here's the problem. These 3 dots right here, they need to be connected to that pipe. So if you want to change the facing, all you got to do is right click one of these dots and it'll change the facing. The problem is we don't have access to that one side to change it. So here's what you do. You hold down the shift key and right click. It will make those 3 dots face inwards. So let me show you over here. There you go. So if you want to move the 3 dots on any transform to the opposite face, just hold down the shift key and right click. Okay, here's 3 tips together. All 3 tips are about iridium ore. The first tip is this is iridium ore in the middle, and here's silver. It's very hard to tell iridium ore from silver, even when they're side by side. That has a slightly different tint, but it's really hard to tell. So here's how you tell. Now if you try to bust silver, bust really fast. If you bust iridium ore, you can see it's kind of slow. Now if you're trying to bust a silver block and it's taking a really long time, that's going to be iridium. So that's the first tip. Second tip is once you figure out it's iridium, use a rock cutter or a diamond pick with a silk touch, because if you do that, you'll recover the actual block, and you can macerate that and get 2 iridium ore out of it. If you bust it with just a regular diamond pick or a diamond drill, you'll instantly recover one of the pieces of iridium ore. But this way you'll recover the iridium ore block and macerate it, and you'll get 2 pieces. The third tip is a good way to find it. A viewer suggested this. He says go to the nether with a jetpack, fly around, and it'll stick out like a sore thumb because it's usually embedded in netherrack. So when you're flying around, you know how dark netherrack is, and you'll see one block like that embedded in netherrack from a distance. Fly down. Chances are, if it's a gray block by itself, it's going to be iridium ore or perhaps diamond. Either way, it's great. Same thing here. Use this rock cutter to bust diamond blocks, and you'll recover the diamond block, and you can macerate it and get 2 diamonds. Okay, here's another great tip. You can use ender chest to access items from a remote location. So I've seen 5 or 10 minute long tutorials showing you how to do this. It's not going to take more than a couple minutes, so let's do this real quick. Here's what they look like. It's called an ender chest. Now I have these set up. Let's go ahead and set a couple more over here so I can start over. Okay, now if you notice there's color bars on the top, you can program those. You do it with dye, so I can take some blue dye and we'll just set it to blue, yellow, and we'll go do the same thing over here. Blue, yellow. So here's what happens. If I open one chest, the other one opens at the same time. They're connected together, so anything I put in this chest will automatically appear in the other chest. So if we come over here, we can see that rock cutter I just dropped in there. And so good use for this is you put one of these down at your quarry, you have your quarry output going into this chest, and on the other end you connect it to your ore processor, and you'd have a wooden pipe with some redstone engines sucking everything out of this chest. And the way I do it with my quarry is, with my ore processor, any kind of ores or anything else that needs to go to the macerator or the electric furnace, it gets sent through there. Stuff like cobblestone, dirt, and gravel, there's a diamond pipe at the start of it, and it automatically rejects that and sends it down to the recycler. But anything else I might accidentally ends up in the quarry, like an EU reader, whatever, it automatically goes to output of the ore processor. It goes to the output chest. It doesn't go through the ore processor, it bypasses it, but it ends up in the output chest. So that way, I got to do something with it. I can't scrap it, and I don't want to put it in a macerator or furnace because it'll jam it. So anyway, here's one more thing to show you. It's called an ender pouch. Now to use these, you just right click on an ender chest and it tunes that pouch to that color. So if I right click it again now when I'm not hovering over the chest, I can see the inventory of that chest. So now what this is good for, when you're off caving and your inventory gets full, you can drop whatever you want into this ender pouch. And like I say, the way my ore processor is hooked up, anything I put in there goes to the right location, so I don't have to worry about scrapping the wrong thing or anything. So in other words, if I put ore in there, it's going to go through the ore processor. If I was to put an EU reader inside that, it's just going to go to the output chest of the ore processor. If I put cobblestone in there, it'll get recycled. So it's a real great way when you're caving, set up some ender chests. They're a little expensive to make at first. They're going to take an ender eye and some diamonds and obsidian, that kind of stuff, but once you can make them, I highly recommend it. Oh, here's one thing I forgot to mention about the ender chest. I've done this multiple times by mistake, but you may be in the habit of shift clicking on a stack of something to put it in the chest. Like, let me actually put it in a chest and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. Let's just get old plain Jane vanilla wooden chest here. Now normally what I do is I hold down the shift key and then click a stack, and it automatically unloads the inventory. If you shift click on one of these ender chests to put something in there, take something out, it will crash your game. It'll crash your client. Now if you're like me, I'm playing single player, but I'm got a LAN gain open so my girlfriend can play with me. If I shift click, if I was to shift click right now to put something in here, the server will instantly crash. So do not do that. At least right now, it is beta. As in beta version, it crashes the game. They'll probably work that bug out though. Okay, here's a good tip for you. This is what you can do with slime balls. If you have an excess number of slime balls, first of all, you can put them in a powered furnace and you'll get a piece of resin. That's not a very good recipe. Let's go find a better recipe. If you smelt slime balls, you'll end up with a piece of resin. So basically you can turn one slime ball into 3 pieces of rubber. So obviously you take the resin, put it in an extractor, and you get the 3 slime balls, or I'm sorry, the 3 pieces of rubber. Now here's something you can do with rubber wood. Usually what I used to do with rubber wood, coming from Tech-It, is you just take rubber wood and you throw it in an extractor and you'll get 1 piece of rubber. But now here's a cool recipe. It's for the industrial centrifuge. If you take 16 pieces of rubber wood and put it in an industrial centrifuge, you'll get 8 resin, which actually turns into 24 rubber. So you get 50% more rubber, but you also get some great byproducts. You get plant balls, carbon cells. I can't remember what carbon cells are used for, and then you get methane. These methane are great. Basically, you'll get 4 pieces, and that's each piece produces 45,000 EU. So that's a heck of a lot more EU than you'd get just for the rubber. And it really doesn't take that long to cook, 250 seconds or so. Anyway, if we take this 25,000 here, it's going to take 25,000 EU to cook this stuff, or spin it, or whatever you want to call it. But this is a great thing to do with your rubber wood. Throw it in an industrial centrifuge instead of just extracting it. Okay, there's all the tips for this episode. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you found some of them useful. Maybe you learned something new. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. The more likes a video gets, the more likely I am to do more videos of that type. So anyway, this is Grumpy. We will see you next time, and I appreciate you watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, all that kind of happy stuff.